This weekend, me and Angel went to ComplexCon for the first time, and we have some thoughts about it. I'm going to ask some questions because I'm kind of the outsider on this as far as the culture is concerned. I am not cool, I'm not hip.
Well,
I wanted to ask you because I'm more of a Comic-Con person, so I feel like ComplexCon was more of her groove. Obviously, ComplexCon's more fashion geared. As a culture in general, like, what does it mean to you?
I mean, I just want to clarify that him being an outsider doesn't necessarily mean that I'm an insider per se. I'm a fan of it. So I love sneakers, I love fashion, I love hip hop. He does love hip hop too. This is just a whole new generation that's like new to us. You know what I mean? But going back to your question, for me, I'm a fan of the art of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, fashion in general, whether it's streetwear or high fashion, is just wearable art. Just like you choose paintings that you have in your house, I choose what I drape over myself. And so that's kind of why I love it. And I've been into like streetwear and stuff since I was a kid. And you can pull like photos of me, and I'm like a mini little hype beast. Both my sister and I were. I mean, we were always rocking J's and just all the things that are popular now. When
you say hype beast,
I don't know. That's such like a I feel like people are going to friggin' drag me down. For saying that word.
Why?
That word's so. I don't know.
Tell me about that word.
It's like, people that only like hype things. They're all about just like draping themselves in anything that's popular. Like, where it doesn't even look good. And the thing that I like kind of reference is, I remember I went to this conference and I had met this guy who's loaded. He owns like these crazy domain names, He from head to toe was in Gucci, but he literally looked like an old like 1970s New Jersey home curtain. Like, that's literally what he looked like. But it was like everything he had on was super expensive. But I'm like,
don't look cool though, fam.
You look weird. Like, that doesn't even look good to me. I mean, for him it was fine. And
it's like a culture. And for me, like, I'm not in it. But I think you have all these people that on Twitter, and there's people that you bumped into at Complex that you knew just from Twitter, and having this thing in common of like you guys are both into this like culture of streetwear and like.
But that's what I love. That's what's cool about it. That's what I love about it.
Right.
There's a whole community that I've met, whether through Instagram or through Twitter, who I would consider my friends in real life now. You know what I mean? And that's in any interest that we have in life. You always want to find people that have the same interests as you, Mm-hmm. You want to vibe off like that common ground. It's like because you're fans of the same thing.
And I know there was like certain people that you talked to about ComplexCon specifically that you asked like if they were going, and they were like absolutely not.
There are certain people that did go last year, and I asked them, "Are you going this year?" And they were like, "Absolutely not." And I guess I should have taken that as a sign.
For you, what do you think ComplexCon means to the culture as a whole?
I don't even want to I feel like I don't even want to give that thing too much power. Like, I feel like you posing that question is like giving it so much power. We work Comic-Con too. The difference between Comic-Con and ComplexCon, one, I know is money, for sure, I get it. But with Comic-Con, there will be exclusive drops, exclusive merch, exclusive meet and greets, signings, panels and stuff, and the crowd is ginormous. I mean, like, way bigger than ComplexCon. And there wasn't any, like, violence.
Yeah.
ComplexCon reminded me of being in the south side of Chicago, like, waiting for Jordans and hoping you weren't going to get jacked. Like, that's what ComplexCon was.
I kept saying it was like Instagram in person.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and I agree. I definitely co-sign what he says.
It was like you were witnessing like a comment section live, like the beef and the like shit talking and like the cocky ego stuff, but it was like in person.
Yeah.
It was interesting that you're saying I was giving it power, but I do think it was kind of a way to bring this culture that's heavily internet based. It's very like Twitter, Instagram based.
You know what
into real life.
Yeah, right. You know what I wish that we did get to see, which we didn't. We didn't get to see any panels. I'm sure that might have been helpful or insightful. I mean, it probably would have spoke to us more than anything else because it would have been like inspirational and something that we can actually take from it.
When something's coming out, everybody's like at 12 o'clock exactly trying to like click a button to get this stuff.
I still do that. I'm
right.
really twisted.
But it was like, so then when you're seeing these people like bum rushing gates, bum rushing lines, like cutting lines, and they were literally running in like in droves.
But it's World War Z.
Yeah, to get this stuff. It was kind of like, it wasn't any different really as far as what's happening than what you see on the internet. You're just seeing people like the physical manifestation of that and like this hype thing of like, we're only gonna make X amount of these and you gotta come get it right now. And everybody's trying to be like the first one to get it. And then you're seeing like these booths get shut down and like all these cops and like this private security stuff, people fighting over these things. For me, it was like wild to see that, especially when you know that kind of stuff happens out in front of stores like on Fairfax. But they took it all and like put it in one place, and it created kind of like a hostile environment. It
was so hostile, and that's what I think that was the most disappointing part of everything. Cause I'm 5 foot nothing, you know. I'm like this little friggin' lesbian girl who loves streetwear. Guys don't know if I'm a dude or a girl, so they probably don't know if they're like want to knock me out or not or something. Like I'm not sure. But the second day that we got there, I went to go see if I can cop these stuff at Atmos. I stood in line like a civil human being, and then literally 5 minutes in, I got cut by like so many guys. I can't even count how many times like people cut me and the people surrounding me. Like it was crazy. If I'm this like 5 foot nothing person, like, and I'm getting cut by these gigantic ass dudes who I could tell they don't care. Like, they don't care what I feel or if they broke a rule. Like, cause there's no one enforcing the rules. The security was terrible. Like,
hot garbage.
Most of the people that I saw security were women too. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like, by no means am I saying that they can't do security, but they could not handle the volume of people that were coming in at all. And no one was even trying to support them at the entrance. If they were checking a bag, all these people were just coming in, like, sneaking around them, and they can't stop them because no one was catching them. So you have this backpack, right? And they're like, okay, go ahead. It's like, it definitely doesn't make you feel safe, like, at all. Especially knowing the type of people that were in there. So the line part of it, right? I only did that for like a good 10 minutes tops. And I was like, this is not even worth it. My time's worth more than this. I'll pay resale. I don't care. If I really want it, I'll pay resale. And at that moment, I was like, today's kind of going to suck. And that kind of set the tone for everything. Right. That was literally right after they shut down the Nicky Diamonds, which was crazy again. Like, that whole thing is, like, so crazy.
Both days, people bum rush that thing.
Like,
savage. If they made it where anybody could get it, do you think it would still be as, like, I don't know, trendy, for lack of a better word?
I don't know. I feel like everything comes in waves. I feel like everything kind of comes in this, like, wave of things. And I feel like right now, like, the wave's about to break. And it's, like, about to go like this. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about it all. If people didn't make limited things,
like if you took out the exclusivity of it and made it just like,
I mean, I think that's part of the culture for sure.
But to me, it seems toxic from looking at it from the outside in, like, it's gotten to a point where I think it's toxic because it's like everybody's doing it. Everybody's trying to hop on this bandwagon of doing it. Like, even seeing these brands that, like, I haven't even heard of in years are doing some exclusive collab with so-and-so, and now everybody's fighting over it. And I'm like, but nobody even cared about that brand
for a long time.
But now all of a sudden y'all care because it's exclusive drop. Like, I don't know. So to me, it's just like it's just literally hype. Like, y'all weren't even wearing that shit before. So
but
like,
it's
now
what
you want to wear it.
It's like a lot of the things that are hype, like they still retail for like a regular price or whatever. Like, people put the value on it. That's kind of what it is.
But I think the whole rarity thing makes stuff more valuable than another thing.
No, yeah.
And so I'm like, if they stopped that, and it was just more about like the artwork of it, like you're saying, as far as wanting to wear this wearable art.
Do I think that all this stuff would still be going on? Like, are you saying?
Yeah, like, would it be as like big of a?
No, it's literally what happened. It's like what's happening to Boost, kind of, from my perspective at least. It's like Boost is dead, Boost is dead, Boost is dead. Like, Boost is not dead. It's reaching a different audience. It's reaching my mother and like my little baby cousins. And
which to me is like kind of probably was the goal in the first place. It was like they kind of played everybody to be their own marketing tool, and they all took the bait on it.
Yeah.
And now like Adidas is way bigger than it probably was before that, and now they've reached this level where they can mass produce stuff and make the money. And like everybody who had these rare things or whatever was just
no longer air. Rare. No longer air rare.
Because you were saying that you felt like it was just a lot of bullies and like judgment.
That's literally what it was. Okay, like, I mean, let's get into it. I'm trying to like figure out a situation that I can compare it to, but honestly, I think one of the only things that come to mind is like the community that Teddy kind of had built. He brought together this love for Boost, and I had met like a ton of cool people through him, through his like pop-up set. I would like film for him when he'd come to LA, or the sneaker con that we went to. Like, it was a cool community, like an actual community where people would talk and like we vibed off of this thing and then kind of got to know each other from there. To me, like, this was not it. Sure, I got to definitely chill and like vibe with like fellow creatives, like the other photographers or the videographers. They were cool, but like the actual like environment, like the attendees, my experience with a lot of them, like being in that line or just being around that floor, is like they don't care about anything but like just trying to get this quick flip. And it does ruin it for me. It does. It ruins it for me. And I know that, like, that's certain people's livelihoods and whatever, and that's fine. I'm not going to ComplexCon or even going to these stores to get these hype things so that I can flip them. I'm not. I'm getting it because I like it.
Like, at Comic-Con, a lot of people dress up and stuff, and they're wearing costumes, and they put a lot of work and energy into it. And it's like, when somebody has a dope thing, everybody's like, yo, that's tight, like, I want to take a picture with you. Or like, you know, something like that, where there it was like people were wearing stuff, but I didn't really see that like acknowledgement. It was more like
it literally was that. It was literally like the size up thing. How big is yours? Like, that's kind of what it was. Like, and mine is this big. Haha.
Yeah. Yours
is not as big as mine. Hey. Like, that's kind of what it felt like to me. And like I said, I was just really turned off from the beginning. We were there, like I said, with a brand, so we had early access. So we were there before the VIPs, way before the general public was let in, and it was still like I still couldn't get anything. Like, I just was like, I wanted to see the stuff and be able to like look at, you know, what these brands are putting out and like the fashion and everything. I just wanted to appreciate it, but I couldn't even appreciate it. Like, I got pushed like probably like 4 or 5 times, and that was it for me. You know, there was one guy, okay, that literally at the SB booth like was reckless. That I saw him, he was reckless like both days. Mm-hmm. One, I don't know how he got in the second day. because like we literally have it on camera, like
dude fighting the security guard.
And he got in the second day, and he was the first one to jump the barricade on the second day. And it's like, man, like...
Then they shut the whole booth down, and then had a police escort the shoes out of there, so literally nobody got them. And it's like, what was the point of that?
People were saying on Twitter like that they did this on purpose.
That Nike
to, like,
did it on
build,
purpose?
No. Like,
Ooh.
Nicki Diamonds and stuff like that. Like, I mean, like, I don't know if I would say that. I don't know. But it's kind of one of those things where, like, what do people expect? With ComplexCon, like, what happened at the Undefeated booth and what happened with the whole, you know, the NERD shoe from last year, it's like, if you're telling people this amount of pairs are going to be released, it's an exclusive drop, I feel like that's just like a recipe for, recipe for freaking disaster.
What would you say, like, the solution to make ComplexCon, like, more of what I think they intended it to be? I don't think they intended it to
not
be
at all.
like that.
No, not at all. I don't think so at all. I don't think I mean, like, think of all the cons, right? Think of all of them. The WonderCon, BeautyCon, VidCon, Comic-Con, all those, like, I feel like this is the most hostile.
But I was saying this because, like, I feel like the culture itself is based on, like,
hostility?
Not hostility, but the, like, me first thing. So it's like the whole point of the whole culture is to, like, get it first, or to be the guy that has it, the exclusivity of it. And so when you take this culture that's based on, like, who has it first, and you put all these people that's the goal in the room, like, everybody's trying to get everything first, it's like a boiling pot. And so I don't think any of these other cons are like that. It's not based on, like, getting it first. It's based on, like, we're all into this cool thing, like, we
even
all
just
like this
getting
thing.
it in general.
Yeah, like, we're just all here kind of, like, seeing, or maybe seeing something first. Like, Comic-Con, I think it was dope to see, like, trailers for new movies first before they put it out. Like, that's cool, but, like, I'm not like physically taking something from the next person or having to cut in line for it. You know what I mean?
Like, the idea of it is dope. Like, if you think about it, it's like there's a concert part to it. There's food, there's fashion, art, like conversations where you get inspired by, like, all these people that are, like, huge influencers or just, like, at the top of their own lanes and stuff like that. Like, that's awesome. Like, that's super dope. But I don't know. Like, what can they do? Like, I mean, like, one, like, in my opinion, security.
Get real security.
Get real security.
For
like,
real.
That's, like, number one. Like, or just more. Like, the security needs to be way better.
And the security for the house, for the convention center, didn't give a shit about anything.
No.
Like, that one girl crying about her brakes, and then they just took her to the side, and then we just saw her leaving. Like, she straight up got fired.
Oh, let's get AC.
Yeah, it was hot as hell in there.
Like, that's, like, one of the only cons I've ever been to
like sweating.
where you're, like, sweat. Usually you're freezing.
You're right.
You know, anything at convention centers are usually freezing, but this one you're like
sweating balls for no reason.
And just, like, can we be nice? Is it not cool to be nice to people? Is it not hype? Like, are people? Is it not hype? Like, kindness. Like, we're not supposed to be kind to people.
Fuck that.
Why is everyone mean mugging? Like, I literally felt like people were just, like, mean mugging people, like, all the time. And then this is a personal thing for me. Marijuana's legal. I get it. I totally understand. But you're talking to somebody that's, like, pretty much straight edge. I don't smoke, drink, do any of that stuff. And it's like, I don't mind, like, a little bit, like, in the air. But it literally smelled like very stale, cheap blunts and armpits because it was hot. And it was like, it was just everywhere. Before we end this, I really wanted him to enjoy it. And I was like, hey man, do you want to come, like, with, and, like, let's do this work, let's do it. And I wanted him to have fun, but I was like, man, nah.
Like, I'm not here to be, like, fighting with people to try to get a shot. Especially people who aren't even being paid to be in my way. Just some random ass dude with his phone in the way for no reason. Like, bro,
there we go.
I don't have time for that. And that's a security issue.
Okay, that's another thing that can improve, though.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that too.
It's like,
it does boil down to security.
Like,
so, or the organization of how they deal with press and media. It's like, if we're there with a brand, but yet you guys are not watching all these random other people that are bum rushing what we're trying to capture. That doesn't make any sense. I'm okay with fighting another photographer, but I am not okay with having to elbow a fan with a phone.
Or a dude with no phone, just standing there in the way. It all boils down to that ComplexCon.
All security.
Your security's garbage.
Like hot,
garbage.
Hot, flaming hot. Hot.
I think that's the solution at the end of the day.
No, hands down. That's the number one thing that should be worked on, which probably boils down to budget. So
get some money.
Let's call it up. Okay, bye.
Cool. Deuces.